I had a friend, and his parents didn't want us to be friends just because of the color of my skin, because for them I was a bad influence or bad whatever, but it was only and solely based on the color of my skin. And stuff like that makes you feel bad. But then again, even though you're young, you're thinking, okay, they're dumb. Let's move on.
Born and raised in the motherland, chasing a better life. Story of an immigrant.
Concrete pastures.
Concrete pastures.
Hello, family. Welcome back to Concrete Pastures. I'm Nancy Mulemwa Sisi. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And to anybody who's new, welcome to the family of your fellow immigrants, your fellow dreamers. We inspire each other through our stories, and we also discuss issues that are important to us in the diaspora. We celebrate the joys, the laughs, and the bravery that being an immigrant or dreamer brings. A huge shout out to our sponsor, BetterHelp. I'm super excited as always. When our guests come on, I'm always excited. Our guest is joining us from France, my dream country, to visit. And I'm so grateful to a dear friend, Aaron, for connecting us to our next guest. Her name is Aurielle Jioya. She has had a passion about cinema since she was very young. She graduated from the Hoppenheim School of Cinema at Concordia University in Montreal. She made her debut as a director by creating 3 short films. In 2010, she founded the Jioya Production and ensures all stages of production is full autonomy. In the era of globalization, her filmography explores the notion of cultural diversity, an aspect that she deepens because of her Beninese origins. Aurielle explores storytelling through documentary, fiction, and art film. She films frequently addressing women's issues, content that illustrates an inclusive and diverse narrative from multicultural voices. Welcome to Concrete Pastures. Oh,
Thank
super
you very much for
excited.
having me.
I'm so excited to have you. Thank you so much. How are you? How are you
Um,
doing?
Very good, thank you.
Mm. So you were born in France. Where are you in
In
France?
France. I was born in the north of France, but now I live in Paris.
Got it. Ooh, my dream country to visit. I can't wait one day
You
to
need to
come.
come.
No, for sure. It's on my bucket list. I can't wait to come. So as for starters, as immigrants, as dreamers, we start with the origins. How was life in France, in Paris, when you were first, a young person before you traveled to other places?
Yes, that's a good question. Yes, so I was born in France. I was born in a small town called Beauvais. And it was at the time where immigration was not as developed as it is now. So, especially in small town, I guess in Paris, it was probably different. So, there was not a lot of Black people. And especially in my school, I was the only one. And I don't have like huge recollection of things being very difficult. But of course, I experienced racism, especially in France. You know, people don't hide it so much. Um, but I mean, I grew up like that, so I was just trying to ignore what was going on around me and just be myself.
Wow. How are your parents? Like, did they? Because if you're growing up and it's so open, like racism is so open like that, what are your parents telling you on how to navigate through life in general or through school?
Well, as I said, it wasn't something that was ongoing every day. Like it would be, once in a while, somebody will make a comment that is not nice to you. And my mom was usually someone who would, I would say, generalize it. Instead of saying it's because you're black, she would
Yeah.
say it's because the person is dumb, or she would not turn it so much around the color. And
Yes.
I think it was a good way of doing it, because up until today, sometimes people can have racist attitudes towards me, but
Mhm.
unless they really tell me something about my color skin or something, the first thing that's come to my mind is not it's not, oh, it's a racist comment. It's more like, oh, it's a mean comment, or it's a mean person, or it's I wouldn't link it right away to the skin color, because I was used to not link it right away to the skin color. And to me, it was, I would say today was a good thing, because I try not to turn everything negative that happens around it. People are just, people can be mean even if you have the same color as they have. So
Yeah. No, I completely understand it. It's just, racism is really ignorance, um, to say the least. There's so much names we can say about it, and people are not really informed that we are all
yeah,
the same, and to have a separation of color and whatever someone deems racism. But that could have been that must have been very challenging to live
it
through.
is. It was challenging, especially when when it when it's actually that, because I remember I had an experience where I had a friend, and his parents didn't want us to be friends just because of the color of my skin, because for them I was a bad influence or bad whatever, but it was only and solely based on the color of my skin. And stuff like that makes you feel bad. But then again, even though you're young, you're thinking, okay, they're dumb, let's move on.
Wow. Wow. No, I because America is known for um having this, but we don't really get hear a lot of stories from other countries that is so open this way, and people are able to actually say it in your face. In Yeah, I can't imagine as a young person going through that and really understanding that it's because of the color of my skin. How has that changed you?
um I think I protected myself by trying to be as much myself as possible, because it's not only there's different type of racism, and there's different type of ways to put people apart. It could be color of skin, it could be social, it could be
Hmm.
the fact that you're a female. There's like all type of levels of discrimination.
Yes.
uh, so for me, it was more trying to build self-confidence, and knowing that I've never seen myself any less than anybody else. So I think that's the way I went around it. And I always had dreams. I always had things that I wanted to do, and I never let people around me stop me. I remember when after I leave France, I moved to the Caribbean.
Yes.
And here again, it's another type of immigration, another type of racism, because now you have racism from Black people against Black people, because they're Caribbean, you're from African origin.
Yes.
So you're not the same. You don't speak Creole. You come from France. So it's a total different story, but it's the
Yes.
same story.
Wow.
Um, so over there, it was funny, because I wasn't really accepted by the Caribbean people, because I wasn't Caribbean enough for them. I wasn't accepted by French people because I wasn't French enough for them. So basically, I had a lot of mixed friends, mixed kids friends, because
They're not accepted either.
yes, they were rejected on both sides, so we could relate.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh, wow.
And basically everywhere you go it's like that, because at some point I also lived 1 year in Ivory Coast, and it was the same thing, because you grew up in France, because you speak with a French accent, because you don't have the same culture,
Mhm.
suddenly you're not African anymore. So
Wow.
that shows you that you just have to be yourself, because you're never going to please anyone. Like if you're in France, you're African. If you go to Africa, you're not. If you go to Caribbean, you're not Caribbean enough. If you go wherever you go, you're
Where
not
in the
something enough.
Caribbean did you go?
Two places: Guadeloupe and Saint Martin.
Mm. How was
One is
there?
French. Guadeloupe is French, and Saint Martin is a mix of French, um, Netherlands, and a lot of English. There's a lot of American influence there, so
Got it. Got it.
that's where I was. And then I remember, for example, when I was in Guadeloupe, um, when I told my teacher that I wanted to study film, they were all like, "Why would you go to do film?" And because for them, when you have good grades, you should go in field like like law or things like that. And I was so passionate about film, so I just I just go with my heart, and I just pursue my dreams. So that's how I left the Caribbean and went to Canada to study. I wanted to learn English, so I went to an English university. That's where I learned. And I was rejected the first time because I didn't have a strong enough portfolio. And then I tried again, and finally got in.
Wow. What did your mom say? Because I know our African parents.
I was actually very lucky, because sometimes, life throw things at you and you don't know why. But I grew up with my mom only, and my dad wasn't really present in my life. But at the end of the day, when I think about it, I think it was more a blessing than anything else, because he wasn't very supportive of any creative fields.
Mhm.
While my mom, I've been very lucky. She's the most open person I ever met. So she was just do what you love and just go with the flow, and she was always very supportive of me doing studies in the field that I was passionate about.
That's amazing. Your father is Beninese as well? From
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That's why I asked that question, because I know our parents want us to be doctors, accountants,
Yes.
all of those
And my mom is
hierarchy.
a chartered accountant, but I think the luck that I had is that she's a chartered accountant. She had our own office and everything, but she told me, she said, I didn't really choose that. I just went because I was advised that it was a good field, and I never
Yes,
really enjoyed it. So
yes.
she didn't
Mhm.
want us to reproduce being in a field that you don't like.
Yes, no, it's very true. It's very true. A lot of the times for children or even society, we end up choosing maybe pays more money, or it's just what our parents are encouraging us to be. So even if you don't want to be a doctor, you end up being that and you hating it. But I'm happy that your mom was very supportive. That's very important. It is. Being a creative is hard by itself. And then when you don't get the support, especially from your loved ones that are very close to you, it can be tough. But you're fortunate. It's a blessing. Yeah. So this was in um
Mel
Hoppenheim?
Hoppenheim, yes, it's in Concordia University.
Got it. And how was that in Montreal? I've been to Montreal, beautiful city. Beautiful.
Well, I have nothing to say about Montreal except positive things.
Share, do
um,
share. There's so many
my
people in the diaspora
my
that,
program was amazing.
yeah.
It's they first of all, I find that there they have a very open spirit. There's a lot of foreign students. It's very creative. It was a joy for me to go to university, really.
Nice.
I loved my program. I loved everything that I learned, and it was really, really, really nice. Now, being in Canada as a immigrant, it's, I guess everybody has his own experience. Um, Personally, I had found it difficult in the way that I find that Canadians are very warm and very open. So when you go there, you like you when you go, you can, especially when you come from France, where French people are not so open at first. So you think like everybody's so helpful, everybody's so nice, everybody's so willing to get to know you, and you get so excited, and then you can meet someone and speak with the person for 3 hours and share about so many things, and then you're so excited, you think you get a friend, and then you meet the same person the next day, and she goes hi, and that's it, she's gone.
Oh, oh.
And you're like,
Wow.
but wait, I thought we had a connection, but no.
Oh, okay.
And it's so funny because in France it's the opposite. People won't be open like that. They won't open at first, but
Yeah.
the minute when they do open, then you get into deeper relationships.
Mm.
So that was, I guess, something that was challenging. And the racism over there is not as upfront that it would be in France. It's more subtle.
Got it.
So you would encounter it when looking for apartments, for example, or um, you would call, and because you have like a perfect French accent, expecting a white
Kennedy.
person,
Yes.
and then you show up, and then suddenly it's rented.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Wow.
So little things like that. But in general, on a everyday on an everyday life and an everyday basis, it's not something that you feel. Well, I talk from my experience, of course. I always talk from my experience,
Yes.
and I have to say something also is that because I refuse to pay too much attention to it, I think it doesn't show up so much in my experience also.
Being an immigrant can be hard. Having been away from my home country for over 20 years has allowed me to experience these hardships firsthand. Throughout my journey, I've had a lot of challenges that were hard to bear. Juggling adjustment to a new country, obtaining my immigration papers, getting married, having children, establishing my career, and finding time for myself. Even though I've always had faith, I also relied on therapy, which gave me the tools to cope with the issues life brought me. My fellow dreamers, let's remove the stigma around therapy and normalize seeking help with today's sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp offers licensed therapists who are trained to listen and help you. Go to betterhelp.com/concrete pastures for 10% off your first month of therapy with BetterHelp, and get matched with a therapist who will listen and help in as little as 48 hours. I think it's also, I think your mom laid a good foundation in you on how to navigate it early on, because I can't imagine looking for an apartment uh, in a foreign country as an immigrant, and somebody all of a sudden, because of your color of your skin, even if you speak perfect French, and they all of a sudden it's rented and it's listed not rented.
Oh yeah, and if you call back again, it's it's free.
Yes. Yes, no, I completely understand that. I have somebody made a comment. I was um looking for a place, and somebody made a comment. It's like, oh, the Africans, they pay on time. So I like to rent to Africans because they pay on time. They're not late. So they're going on and on and on. So if someone was not African, coming from France but black, I guess they are not going to be considered to pay on time or given the space to rent the place. So it's those comments, even if people don't think anyhow of it, but you're talking to a black person. Why can't we just be humans and just say, I need
True.
my rent on time, or you know,
But as I say, at the end of the day, there's prejudices against so many things because
yes,
in Canada, there's like prejudices against French people too, like white French, uh, for not paying during the winter or things like that. There's prejudices against students because they don't have that much money and sometimes they're late. So everybody got their own prejudices.
yes.
So if you black, French, and student, imagine.
You're in trouble. You're in trouble. You're in trouble. But repeat that one more time. You said there's the white people don't pay much in wintertime. What do you mean?
No. I mean, I'm just talking about the different type of prejudices that you can hear, like comments
Yes.
people would say about. They would talk about French people not like Canadian would talk about French people not paying their rent, or when they finish their 1 year of school, they would disappear before they pay the last 3 months or stuff like that. So I'm saying it's
Yes.
like those things are not only towards
Black
black,
people.
it's
Yeah.
towards so many things. Sometimes
Yeah.
I remember one day I met a landlord and he told me, no, it's just that I don't like renting to students. It's like they all have their own thing.
Yeah. He got burnt one time or twice.
Yeah.
So he's just like, no, I'm done with you people. Don't come. I'm not dealing
Yeah,
with students anymore. But yeah.
exactly.
So I'm glad you had a great experience. So when did you graduate? And
uh, in 2001.
2001, got you. So you had
Mhm.
three short films that you made.
Yes, I made short film after that. Then I worked in different position in the film industry. While I was in Montreal, I worked as a film programmer from film festivals. And then after a few years, I moved back to the Caribbean, this time in Anguilla. And then I started a production company where I was doing high-end wedding films
Mm-hmm.
for a few years. And then from that on, I started doing promotional films and short docs and things like that. And that's what I've been doing for a while. And I decided lately to go back to my real passion, which is fiction. So I'm back again to fiction writing. I just shot a short film in Benin in November.
Lovely, lovely.
Yes, and going through post production and so forth. So
Aurielle, what activated this passion in you?
oh, it's a funny story. When I was in school, I used to have grades that were very I could get really high grade or really bad grades. Uh, I wasn't like the typical average student who would have average grade. I would get my average from high and low. And after a while, I realized that when I didn't like the subject, I would having terrible grades. And when I liked the subject, I was having very good grades.
Mm-hmm.
So I say, okay, if you don't want to be mediocre in your life, you better choose something you like.
Wow.
Because you're good at what you like and you're not good at what you don't like. So I started looking at the things that were exciting for me. And I remember that every time I was going to see a movie, no matter the state of mind I was in, whether it was, I could be, sad or whatever, I would go and spend 2 hours and just travel and laugh and dream and cry and go through so many emotion in 2 hours and come out and be like, wow, life is so beautiful. So I said, okay, I really want to be part of this industry that is able to create magic and emotion in 2 hours.
Oh, I love it. I was watching February is a month or everybody considers a love month. Um, Valentine's. A lot of people celebrating Valentine's, and I was watching your short film with Bianca and Jamie.
Oh,
I love their love story. I love the love story. For anybody who is listening, go on her page and watch. I was touched. I'm like, now I need to start dating.
yes, actually,
I love
it
their
was a
love story. It's
it,
beautiful. I love how you tell their story. Even though they do tell their story, but it's also someone who's behind the camera on
yeah.
how you are delivering their story to us. It's beyond. It's beautiful.
Thank you. It's funny because I have so many friends that used to tell me, I hate wedding films, but I would go on your website to watch some because they're so unique and they made me cry and they this and that.
I would
Well,
agree with your friends. I would agree with your friends because it's so cheesy, some of them and stuff. But I
yeah,
was so hooked.
and that's how you know that you can make that storytelling is really powerful and that you can actually create emotion with anything, even with the wedding films. And it was a nice period. I don't do wedding film anymore. I still have people asking me once in a while, so you have to be very, very, very passionate about your wedding film so for me to say yes.
Oh my God. No, it was so it's touching, it's beautiful, it's love. And even their wedding.
Yeah, oh, you saw the wedding films too?
Yes, I saw their wedding. I was like, oh wait, there's another part to this. Because I was so hooked on it. And I was just like, wow, this is love. This is
Yeah, that's a
this is
very beautiful story. Yeah.
yeah, this is love. Uh what ge- what do you get when you do this? Like when you are filming them, what is the feeling you're feeling for these guys?
Love, definitely love. And it's funny because wedding film, like the way I used to do them, it's very demanding. It's like it's tiring. You have hours of shooting, and the
Mm,
equipment is heavy. And but like sometimes I would dread going, and then once I'm there, when I'm with the couple, I'm
yeah.
filming the love story. I go into another dimension. And the funniest thing is that sometimes I look back on my own film
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and I'm like, I have this little tear coming, or I'm like, and I get totally into the story, and I'm like, I shot that.
That's the
So
beauty.
that's actually really funny. And it's funny
Uh,
because that couple in particular, the Bianca, she gave me probably one of the best review I've ever had. She said that the wedding was a lot of money, a lot of stress, a lot of investment. And she said, but the best investment I did of my whole wedding was Aurielle and her wedding films.
um, that's
And
amazing.
I was so touched because she said, like, every time she goes back to that, she has the full memory with emotion of everything that she's been living on that day. And
I love it. I love it, and I love that you're saying that you dread going because a lot of people when they see people that create content that you always happy, you always uh happy to create and stuff like that. When I have most of the times when I have to record something, it takes a lot of strength for me to even go. There are some days I'm excited, I'm happy, and some days I'm just like, okay, drink coffee, do some some dancing or something. I have to get myself
exactly.
in the mood to do something, but it's also dedication. It
It's a
shows
dedication,
dedication.
and every passion that you have, there's always going to be that little part of it that you're not very excited about. You
Yes.
have two options. You can you have maybe not two options, but you have several options. You get subcontracted when it's possible.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
For
mm-hmm.
example, I remember the editing part sometimes was so hard,
I give
so
it to
hard.
you.
It's
My
hours
heart.
and
So
hours and
wow.
hours of editing. So if you can afford to to have somebody else do it, then do it. But at the end of the day, the craft that you do, there's always part of the craft that is not the most fun, but it's the whole thing together that makes it exciting. And those parts also that are not so fun, they're also the parts that build um, your expertise,
Yes.
and the fact that you you can say that you manage all the aspect of your craft.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful. Storytelling is the best way that has been a connection to me and to
Mm-hmm.
the world for people. And the way you tell your stories, and it's captivating. It's captivating. And it shows the love of what you do. And I love that you are not saying that it's perfect. I'm always showing up, and I'm always in the mood
No, no,
to
no.
do it.
Up until today, like from like I'm on another level of my work because I'm more into creative and creating stories, but the writing part for me is hard because it's not something that I wanted to do. Like I write stories because I have things to express, but if I could just send it to a script writer and say, okay, this is what I need. Can you send me back the script when you're done?
Yes, this is what's in my head.
eventually,
Here you go.
eventually it would come, but I'm not at that stage yet.
Yes, yes.
But you have to do what you have to do. So
I can completely agree with that. Whenever I'm working, like even now, I'm working on an episode. I've been working on this episode since last year. I write every little bit. I write every little bit because I'm diving into my own memory since I am telling my own story, diving into it. And as I'm writing, there's so much coming into my head, and then I have to stop. And then when I stop, literally sometimes I'll be driving, I pull over to the side, a thought comes or a memory comes, and I continue writing. And the same way, I wish I could just like, okay, here's my brain, just take the memories and just write them down, because it takes so much out of you. My brain is so tired by the end. Like I don't even physically get tired.
mm,
I don't remember when I physically was tired. It's normally just my brain is so exhausted. Um, but yeah, there's the dedication to it, and
yeah,
that makes it sweet.
and to never give up.
That's the goal.
Mm.
That's the goal. That's the goal. That's definitely the goal. Um, you worked on. I've seen some of your work that you've done. Like I think I don't know. You did runway, and um, you did your Joy Production. What do you guys work on Joy Production? I know
Uh,
you focused on women issues
the
as well.
different subject we have. I have Jioya Production, which is more all the films that are more promotional, which like it could be artist portraits, it could
Mhm.
be I used to do a lot of events, things like that. And then there's Joya Films where it's more the art videos or fiction films and things like that. So um I've been having Joya Production for a few years now,
Nice.
and Joya Film is baby, the new baby, just starting.
Yeah, got it.
And right now I'm completing a short film called Angèle, and
Could
starting
you
working
tease
on.
us? Could you tease us a little bit?
Yes, actually, it's about diaspora. It's about living
Nice.
in another country and wanting to reconnect with your roots, and yeah, it's the story of a young Beninese who doesn't know much about his origin and decide to go to Benin for the first time to trying to learn more about his family.
Is
And
that
he's
you
gonna
in him?
it's me and him. And he's gonna make a mysterious
Because I'm like, this
encounter.
sounds familiar.
He's gonna do a mysterious encounter that's gonna open
I
up
look
to.
forward to it. I look forward to it. Are you so that's why you went to Benin and filmed in Benin?
Yes.
Oh, I can't wait. I've never honestly like seen much of Benin, and I can't wait. Please share that when you have it out.
I will.
Yes, I want to. I would love to see it. You being in the entertainment industry for a while, for a long time, do you think we have enough women in the industry do we think the women have enough do we have enough voices in this
We
space?
know we don't. We know we don't. I guess it's changing slowly, but no matter which country, which origin, or especially in the film industry, we're totally, totally underrepresented. And that is more and more program that encourage women for this industry, but it used to be such a male industry, even though women were there from the beginning, because a lot of them were script writers and things like that, but they always got to the jobs that were not upfront and that were not promoted. And even when I was doing weddings, or even when I do promotional films, usually when I arrive, people are always surprised to have me part of the crew filming and doing everything, because where people are used to see
Men.
male crews.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's funny because in my last film, like most of the key positions were females. Was a
Oh,
female producer, female
nice.
director, female chef of director of photography,
Wow.
and it was by chance, but it was very nice.
Wow.
And the people in the crew were saying, "Wow, like uh, a crew with so many women is like it's nice." They enjoyed it.
No, there's a change coming. There's a change coming, so
Hmm.
everybody can look forward to that. It's like women are going to take over as we should. Um, what do you think is the future for cinema, especially for women around the world?
I wouldn't. Sorry. Um, I cannot tell what is the future, but what I'm excited about is that I see more and more women going towards that industry in terms of studying, in terms of interest. A lot more women are producing also, because like if you don't get the producers to help projects that are held by women, it doesn't help either. You know, we used to have a lot of male producers, so now we starting to have women producers, and it's an industry that is moving a lot, because you know we used to have the big screen, we used to have the cinema, now we have so many other ways. We have the platforms like Netflix, Apple, Amazon's, we have web series, we have so many different avenue and doors for diffusion that I think people have more and more opportunities. It's less straightforward and less. I think it's more open now with all the different new technology that we see in the film industry. So I think there will be a lot more opportunities for not only women but for everybody.
Got it. Do you have any favorites of what you've been able to produce so far? I know it's biased.
Not really,
Like,
but
do you
I
have
know
anything
that
that you attach to? Like, oh, this
not
is my best
necessarily, but
work.
I no. It's more like I have of course I have a special favorite in terms of the things that I would love to do more.
Okay.
um I think that we have a lot of stories coming from the continent that are not being told enough. I see there's a change because like I know there's a series coming on Netflix that is produced by Jada Pinkett and some other people about the queens and kings of Africa. But those are the things that I really wanted to get into because I think that we need more positive models in terms
Yeah.
of the film industry, and we need to tell more stories and more of our stories. And that's when some of the project that I do, I dig into historic events because I want to put them into light. I want to talk about the continent, but in a
Yeah.
positive way, because I
Yeah.
think it's been missing a lot.
I completely agree. Everybody who's in the entertainment world, a lot of African guests that have been here, I normally would ask with what the how the entertainment industry is in Africa and what do they see is the future, because the entertainment industry has been there for a long time. I came to the US in 2002, and South Africa was doing phenomenal films, soap operas, and so many even documentaries. They had all of those things, and then Nigeria also picked up.
Also, yeah.
Yes, they picked up, and they have been doing so good. They are on Netflix almost every
Mm,
week
exactly.
with a
But a
new.
lot of the countries, even the French countries now, they're catching up. So I
Oh
think,
no, yes, for sure. Like
yes, I think for me, there's a bright future.
yes. No, I agree. I mean, you've been in it for a while. I just wanted to hear your own perspective on what you see, because for people who are there all the time, they might not see it. And when somebody comes in, they can see something else. Because it's like a child, when your child is growing, you don't really see them growing until
Because you're
somebody
there, yeah.
else acknowledges, like, oh my God, your child grew. So it's good to see how Africa is growing in
Yeah.
terms of telling our stories.
Oh
We can
yes,
tell.
yes. I think they really start owning it, so which is
Yeah,
great.
that's amazing.
Mm.
So what's the future aside from fiction?
I'm
You
deep into
do
fiction
a
right now.
lot. You do a lot. You do photography and I mean,
Yes, I do work on the different projects at the same time. I would like to go back a bit more into art videos because I like if it's a nice form of expression also, where you're freer than in the fiction world. And yes, and explore a little bit more photography also because I have to admit I had put that aside lately. So
what type of photography do you do?
um I like to do portraits and I like to do basically my photography and art video cross. It's conceptual. So I have to come up with an idea and emotion and then I would create a concept around it.
What's the emotion you feel with the picture behind you?
Oh, that's an artist called Philippe Pasqua. And show you a little bit more. For me, it's peace. It's rest and peace. It's peaceful. And I actually was outside of my bedroom and I put it in my bedroom because it feels like peace to me.
Yeah. Oh, nice. It's exciting. I can't wait to first of all for the movie that you're working on, and to see your art with your photography through your.
Sure.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that. Anything else that you'd like for our audience to know that probably I haven't asked you? What don't we know about Paris, France? What is the stereotype? that people may
No.
not know? They've good food.
um, well, the stereotype is like that Parisian are grumpy, and it's not a stereotype, it's true. Yes, there's good food, there's good fashion, it's a beautiful city, a lot of cultural events, and it's a nice place to live.
Yeah.
And since we're talking about dreams, if there's one thing that I would like to add is that when we see people uh, achieving their dreams or living a certain type of life, and we're like, wow, this is an inspiration, or this is an example that I would like to follow.
Mhm.
One of the biggest recipe is to believe in oneself, but also to never give up, because talent is one thing, but I think perseverance is really what makes the difference at the finish line.
Well said. Said. Would you ever live anywhere else aside from Paris?
Oh yeah, I almost move every three years. So
Really?
yeah, I've been here for 3 years now. First time I was living in Paris, even though I'm French. I lived in so many places, and I don't mind just changing places, and I just go with the flow where the opportunities of life and work takes me.
I think I'm the same like you. I don't mind living around the world. I feel like I'm now a citizen of the world. I don't mind. I have like some dream countries that I would love to visit. Like Paris and France is the one of them. Going to Israel, Jerusalem, and yeah, so many. My list just keeps
To
going.
visit or to live in?
To visit and then to live, I want to settle in the south of Africa. So
Oh, nice.
yes, Cape
Nice,
Town
nice.
is my dream for now. But
Well, Cape Town is my dream place to visit.
yeah,
Yeah.
for me to live and spend the rest of my life on earth there.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, so do you feel from all of the work that you have done, do you feel fulfilled? Like you've done an amazing job and do you feel fulfilled?
Nope. Always reaching for more. And it's so funny because sometimes, like, one of my biggest dreams is to do a feature film.
Mm.
And I'm thinking, okay, once you're going to finish your feature film, it's going to be done and it's going to be on screen. Are you going to be fulfilled? I'll be like, nope, I need to do the next one.
Wow. Listen, there's nothing wrong with being in the chase. Um, there's so many people who have, or we all have goals. And if your goal is to have your feature film, because everybody, depending on the industry you're in, there's a certain highest level that you want to achieve. So for you is a feature film. And once you get there, I hope you say, this is it.
Now, of course, I will have the time of appreciation and being happy, and but then I'll be what's my next project?
Are you constantly on the chase?
I guess so.
Okay. When do you feel like when do you project in your mind that when I get this, it's when I'll feel like I'm done? What do you what
I
do you project?
It's very difficult for me to think that I will be done. I don't like, even sometimes people ask me about retirement, and I'm like, I
Done in the
can't
sense of feeling fulfilled. Like
fulfilled.
yeah, done in the sense, not done, making content, but done
Yeah.
in the sense of I am full, I'm content, and I'm
The
proud
truth
of
is
what
that
I've done so
it
far.
well, it could start today. It could definitely start today. I'm happy with what I've done so far. So yes, I'm fulfilled. It's just that I don't want to take that fulfillment for granted and just stay there.
You
But
refuse to take inventory of what you've done.
so no, I think it's the journey, you know. So I enjoy the journey. I enjoy what I've done so far. I'm excited about what I'm gonna be doing, and I don't know. It's difficult for me to tell you if one thing would give me that fulfillment, because even I guess the greatest artist that did the greatest song or poem or film or whatever, they, yes, they have a fulfillment, but I guess they still have the excitement of what's next.
Yeah. So, I mean, some people, maybe you could be, I might be wrong. It could be in the same. It gives you the push for you not to accept that you are fulfilled. It's probably just gives you the push to move to go forward. Because once you sit in and you say I'm fulfilled, you no longer going to have that hunger like you have when you feel not fulfilled in a way.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe.
It's okay. It's okay. I've been there. I've been there, especially when I was on a chase in my career. And for some people, it could have been, oh, yeah, I'm good just in this position. I'm making
Mm.
enough money. I'm making a good living. And it gives me all these great benefits. But for me, it was like, go, go, go. And then when I got there, and I was like, this is it?
Well, that's the thing about, okay, I in a position it's probably different, because you can actually reach to a position where you have fulfillment. But for me, when I talk in terms of projects,
Yes.
it's more about excitement than anything else.
Yes.
It's that when one project is finished, I'm happy, but then I'm excited about what's next.
Got it. Got it. I mean, I can relate. I can relate every time I'm sitting down. Like, I'm excited to sit down with you now. I'm way over here. I've been looking forward to this all week. And then the next conversation, I'm like, okay, I'm going to have another conversation. But I try to sit into this moment.
Into
That's what
this
I
moment, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I try to do, because you're making space for us. You're making the time for us, and I try to sit into every conversation because everybody brings in. But I get what you're saying. I completely get it, because you get excited into that project, and then you have the next one, and it's a different subject maybe, and it's like, oh my God, this
Exactly.
is so excited. All right. So, what has been the best part of this journey of creative?
um Actually, I would say the best part is what we just talked about. The fact that you set yourself into goals and then you achieve them and then you get excited. I was in the Caribbean. I wasn't speaking a word of English. I set myself to become bilingual, French and English,
Mm,
to go into a film school. And I remember at the time I went, it was one of the biggest excitement of my life. I was like, wow, I got it. I'm so excited. And then finished school and working in the industry and meeting people, starting my own company. I mean, all of those things are part of the journey of building the person I am today and the choices I make today and the the project I want to work on. So it's difficult to say the best part because it is. The whole process is.
nice,
And as long as I'm alive, it still goes on.
nice. Um, do you feel you found your concrete pastures?
I would say yes. I would say yes because I am happy where I am. Even though I said yes, my next project, I would like to do a feature film and so forth. I'm happy in the now, and I'm happy with the project I'm working on right now. Like, yes, maybe if I had been forced to do another type of study and I was an accountant like my mom and dreaming of making films, I would have said no. but but today I can say yes. And even though the uh, being an artist is not always an easy way, it's not always a secure way. It's a happy way and it's a fulfilling way, at least for me.
Yeah, it's a gift. The
Mhm.
fact that you can express yourself in so many ways. Every day you wake up, your brain just directs you.
Mm. And you wake up and you do what you love. So
Yes,
it's for me, there's no better gift than that.
I agree. I agree. Beautiful. Um, what gets you excited? What gets you motivated to get up to do all of these amazing things?
Um, well, I get excited just by creating stories, imagining stories. What gets me excited also is the fact that those things that I create can be shared and they can create emotion on other people. They can inspire them. And sometimes you're thinking, okay, if my story touched just one person,
Hmm.
that's enough. I've done my job.
I'm glad you say that because a lot of people are for a lot of people they go in wanting to uh have to touch so many people. When I first started this, and I have a mentor, and she talked about the power of one listener, especially for the podcast. So even if it was one person listening, I celebrated all of that. And then as the podcast started to grow, we get now big numbers of so many people listening. But still, I go back to that person that woke up on Sunday and listened for 1 hour of a conversation, the hour they'll never get back, but they got
Mm-hmm.
inspired by what we had to say on this channel. So I'm glad that you say that. Like, even if you inspire 1%, I think that should be the goal, to inspire just 1% and you're done. Because if you left Earth
Yeah.
today, yeah, if you
And
left,
you touch the heart of that one person. It's like it's a life. I mean, what is more important than a life?
yes, yes, I love that. I love that. How can people
Yes.
find you, and how can we support you?
Okay. So I'm on Instagram at Aurielle Jioya. So it's AURIELLEJIYA. Sorry, I have to translate from French in my head, so sometimes.
I'll have it in the
uh,
show notes.
okay.
Yes, I also have it in the show notes.
Um, and so that's basically where I'm the most present on social media. And well, to support, just be part of the community so you can know what are the news, what we're working on, and that's the opportunity also to get an opportunity to see the films, to support the films, and yes.
Nice. Thank you, my dear. I'll talk to
Thank you.
you soon.
Okay.
All right.
All